Hello, this is Ashley from Crafting with Ashley and welcome to this video. Today I have an art journal page to share with you and this is it. I absolutely love how it turned out. It has a lot of texture and dimension and I love the sayings, kindness changes everything. So I'm going to show you some of what I did. I'm not going to go through the whole process because I don't really want two art journal pages exactly the same, but I'm going to show you how I created the background for this page and how I created the background to stamp my butterfly and sentiment on as well. So let me show you. The reason I made this page started off was I wanted to play with our pigment sprinkles. Now these were in the new catalogue in last June, but because of the customs issues in the UK we didn't get these through until late autumn, early winter sometime, October, November sometime, and I couldn't wait to get them, got them, and then they just sat in my stash and I never used them. Well, I changed that now and I love them. You get 6 little bottles in your box. Now you think to yourself, wow, there's not very much in there, that's not going to last me very long. They are so heavily pigmented. You just need a tiny sprinkle of them because they are that highly pigmented, so they will last you for ages. So they are a great investment. So let me go through the colours we've got. One here is Granny Apple Green. Okay. And then we have one I'm going Daffodil Delight, Mango Melody, Bermuda Bay, Melon Mambo and Gorgeous Grape. So for this background I'm going to stick to these three here because they're roughly the same area of the colour wheel. So they're oranges, reds, pinks, even this is a pink, you know, yellow, they're all going to be in the same area. This means when they mix together they're not going to turn into mud. So let me just zoom you in a tiny bit more so you can really see what I'm doing. Okay, now you just open them up like this and each colour has its little thing on the top and it has this little flip cap that you just pull open and it's basically like a salt cellar and you're just going to sprinkle, this is Daffodil Delight, and you're just going to sprinkle salt basically over your, it's like sprinkling salt but you don't need much, that will be plenty. And you'll see, you will be amazed at the explosion of colour. So let's go with some Mango Melody. Okay, just a little bit, you don't want a lot, and of course the deeper the colours they are, as always, the brighter they're going to be. So here I've got Melon Mambo, so I don't want much of that at all. And that should be plenty, more than enough. I've most probably got more than I need there. And you look at that and think, there's hardly anything there. You need more than that. That's not going to do anything. Just wait and see. Now the magic happens. I'm going to be using my spritzer. And you're just going to spritz. And look at that colour. Look at it. Isn't it amazing how much colour you get just from that simple, just from little sprigments. And if you want a little bit more, like I think I want here a bit more pink than I've got, you can just add. Look at that. Look at that explosion. Isn't that amazing? Oh, I think it is. I love mixed media and I love painting, so this is beautiful. And because I've got so much water, I'm just going to move the colour around and I'll spritz a bit more with my spritzer, which is here, just to help this colour move. Even more. So I'm just going to do it like that. This way I cover the page and you really get to mix the colours and it's so organic, you don't know what you're actually going to achieve. And let's add a little bit more here at the edges. And I should have said what I'm using is a Fluid 100 watercolour paper, so this can really take water very well without any problems at all. So let's get some drippage going, and if you want you can smoosh it around in what's below here, really get things mixed up like that. And I think I'm going to stop at that because I'm happy with that. I think that looks amazing. So what I'm going to do now is set that aside, clean this up, and then all I'm going to do is dry it off with my heat gun, and then I'll be back. Okay, so that's all I have so far. So you've got this quite amazing background, well I think it is anyway. And for the butterfly that's on top of my thingamajig, my background, I made the paper to stamp it on in exactly the same way, except I used Gorgeous Grape and Bermuda Bay, and you can see here a leftover of what I had. I just did this actually on shimmery white cardstock, and you can see here I just did exactly the same process but with those two colours instead. Okay, so the next thing I did for this background was to do some stamping, and the stamp set I'm going to be using today is called Crackle Paint, and I'll just get it out here. It's this one here, and it's one of these large background stamps. Okay, and all I did was I'm going to heat emboss, because this is watercolour, and if I use some of our inks on it it might run, so I want it to be permanent, and I don't want it black, so I want gold, so I'm going to be using some heat embossing. So all I'm going to do initially is take my embossing buddy here and just run this just gently across my background, just to make sure it doesn't pick up any static. Okay, and then I am going to ink up my stamp using some Versamark. Okay, and we're not looking for once in our lives, we're not looking for perfect stamping. We're just looking for what I call ghost stamping, a little bit of stamping in the background to give some added interest. So you're just going to use your stamp and just go around and give some, you won't be able to see anything on the camera at all because it's a sticky ink and it's totally clear, but I can see some stuff. So give it another ink up, and as I said, I don't want perfect stamping, I just want some ghost stamping. So you can see I'm rolling my stamp, which is normally a no-no when you're stamping. Okay, and we're going to see now, you'll see what we have in a minute. Okay, so put that stamp set aside, and I'm going to bring in my embossing stuff. So here I've got my gold embossing powder, and at the moment it looks like nothing's happened on my page, but you will see now that something has. See, there's all our stamping that suddenly is coming alive. And it's meant to be ghost stamping, so you're not looking for perfection, which is very useful if you struggle with getting things absolutely perfect, which I do at times. Okay, so there we've got. Then we're going to heat set that now. I'm going to heat set that with my embossing gun after I've cleared up the mess, and I'll be back. Okay, so that's what we have. I think you can see there, lovely embossing in the background, and it just gives us lovely shine to it. really pretty background, I think. So the last thing I did on my background here to give interest was to do some stenciling, and the stencil I used was from these, which are the Pattern Party decorative masks. I used the one that was like bricks, which is this one here. Okay, and I was going to use my normal white embossing paste, but I found I didn't have any, so I'm using my shimmery white instead. And I've just put on some Press and Seal plastic wrap over the top here to really keep it as as airtight as possible. So I'm just going to give it a little stir, and as you can see, I've been using my craft mat, my craft sheet, which is my heat resistant craft sheet, to do this, and this makes clean up and all the mess, keeps it all contained. So all I'm going to do is put this in some places on my layout. I'm just using my palette knife here, and it's just basically like spreading margarine on spreading butter. Okay, so that's all we have. That's how I made my background, and I think it looks really nice just like that. But then of course you need a focal point, and that's what I did. So let me talk you through what I did here. I took a piece of shimmery white cardstock, which also holds water well, and I used, as I said, the pigment sprinkles in Gorgeous Grape and Bermuda Bay. I made a combination of those on my piece of paper, so I just took about half a sheet of A4, as you can see here, and just played with my colours until I was happy with them. I then stamped my butterfly. Now my butterfly is heat embossed as well, and the butterfly is from the set here called Beautiful Day. There's this butterfly here, and I just stamped him with the Versamark the same way as we did our crackle paint, and then instead of using gold embossing powder, I just used some white embossing powder. I stamped him, and then I also stamped our sentiment that says kindness changes everything, and that comes from this set here called Abstract Impressions, and it's this one here. Okay, I fussy cut out my butterfly, and then I just trimmed off my sentiment here, and I've just stuck them both down onto my background here with some dimensionals. For the little butterflies here, I just punched them out of the scraps of my piece of paper with my butterfly duo punch, which is this one here, and you can see here one that I didn't use. I just used the small ones. Here's a large one, and then I just took a white, to match this, I just took a white pen and just went around the edges like this, and then added some detail with my pen like that, so that the butterflies matched in. Okay, around the edge of the butterflies, because you still had a white edge and I wanted to have a little bit of a border, I used my marker, and all I did was took the fat side of the marker and then just ran it like this, just along the edge of all my butterflies, and that just got rid of my white on the edge, and it gave it a very nice finished border. And then I did exactly the same around the edge here of my art journal page and on the edges here, just to give it a little border, because I think any piece of artwork needs a frame, needs a border. And then I stuck down my little butterflies with the mini dimensionals. So there you go. That's my art journal page. So that's the background, and that's the finished page like that. I hope you enjoyed the project. I love the pigment sprinkles. I'll definitely be playing with them again. Have you got the pigment sprinkles? Has this inspired you to buy them? If you want any information about the project, the supply list and everything, it's in the description box below, but it'll also be on my blog post on my website, and the links to that and all my social media links are in the description box below. If you enjoyed the video, I'd be grateful if you could give it a thumbs up so YouTube know, and don't forget to subscribe to future videos. And thank you once again, and until next time, enjoy being creative. Bye!